Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of RSBandB Updates Supplemental. This week we are going to be talking about something that some of you guys might be aware of and some of you guys might not, and that is an organization called Team Penguin, based out of World 60, and with me today is the leader of Team Penguin, Canada Grrl.
Hi there.
So, we're going to be discussing a bit about what you guys do this week and everything, but first, it's a pleasure having you on the show, and I want to take this first opportunity to congratulate your group on your 300th Penguin topic that went up last night.
Yes, thank you very much, and thanks for having me on. 300 threads. It's quite an achievement, and I believe quite unique on the forums.
Yeah, and I have been aware of the Penguin group since it was in its 50s. I never really got involved with your group, primarily because of other things that I would be doing at the time, but it's something that I've watched closely, and we've been wanting to have you guys on for quite some time. So, let's begin. What exactly is penguin hunting?
Well, it's one of the original D&D's, distractions and diversions of the game, and it's a great way to get free XP. It's a weekly D&D as well. And of course, there's now tokens, so you can replay at times. And basically, you can, throughout your gameplay, spy upon disguised penguins that are roaming around RuneScape. And while speaking to either Larry or Chuck at the zoo, you can turn in your points that you spied for free XP or GP. And it's free XP on any skill. It's any skill of your choosing, which is kind of a nice bonus.
Which is very great for leveling up skills that might be too expensive for you, you might just totally hate, or you're rushing to get a certain level. So it's a very nice thing for everybody to do. So,
yeah.
Which quest does this unlock after?
Well, actually, you can spy penguins without a quest, so any player can really do it. The only thing you have to do first is speak to Larry at the zoo. He's in the southwest corner. And after you have completed Cold War, which is the first of the Penguin series quests, you can then spy the same 10 penguins every week, but you would get 2 points for 5 of the penguins in a week if you spy all 10. And then after that, the second quest in the Penguin series is Hunt for Red Ractuber, which allows you to spy the polar bear for an extra point during the week. And then the third quest in the series is Some Like It Cold, which unlocks the ghost penguin, which allows you to get more points for the week. So you can actually start off, and it's such a fun diversion. People who are new to it are always like, what was that moving crate that just ran past me? People sort of join for that aspect, or like, yeah, I saw these things running around the game, and
what they
realize what's behind it. Exactly. When you see a toadstool with flippers, you kind of wonder what's going on. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun to spy.
So if a player comes in to the game of RuneScape and they see a penguin and they spy on it, they'll get just 1 point, correct?
Correct. Yes. And if they haven't done it, yes.
Right, and then you said you add on the quest and you get 2, and then the following quest you unlock more penguins and the polar bear and then the ghost penguin finally. All right.
That's right, yeah.
So how many penguins does this give us in total?
Well, there's 10 penguins to spy each week, plus the polar bear, plus the ghost. However, there are actually 67 penguins possible.
Wow.
And then each week, exactly, according to a pattern, which we're in the process of cracking, yes, Mod Raven, we are, it's a combination of which penguins show up each week. And there's always 5 1-point penguins and 5 2-point penguins. So it'll be a mix of those.
Right.
And you get the 2 points for your Cold War.
Yeah. So that, I guess, brings us up to 16 total points with the Ghost Penguin. Am I right?
No, actually, 10. It's 15 points with Cold War. It's 16 points with Hunt for Red Ractuber with the polar bear, and then it's 19 points total that you can do in a week.
Ah, all right. Well, there goes the bad math in my head. But anyways, so 19 points a week. And would you happen to know offhand how the experience is calculated if people choose the experience option when turning in penguin points?
Yeah, it's your points, number of points you have, times 25, times the level of the skill that you choose. So if you are level 10 in something, it's 10 times points times 25. So it can actually add up quite high XP. I mean, I'm 94, I think, summoning or something. I'm in the 90s for most of my skills, and I take 50 points that you can cap at. You cap at 50 points, so you can bank your points.
Oh, okay.
Before you have to turn them in. Or, you can turn them in at any point you want, but 50 is sort of the cap, and then you have to turn in. But if you do 50 times 25 times 90 plus skill, you're talking over 100,000 XP.
Which is very nice for something like summoning
very
or
nice.
Construction, the expensive ones. So this is definitely something that I guess you should be trying to do weekly if you have the time.
And when players come into our FCs, they commonly say that, I'm trying to level up XYZ, or I've got a goal for this. I just need 3 points, or I just need 4 penguins, or actually spying a penguin is also one of the tasks in the diaries.
Oh, okay.
So players will also spy a penguin for that. I believe it's the Ardoin ones, so the Ardy ones.
All right, that sounds good. Now I want to delve into a bit of the operations about Team Penguin. I guess the important thing to start off with is how was the group founded? What's the story?
Well, it was basically on day one, which was back September 2008, and it was sort of a frenzy of what were these things running around RuneScape. It had been announced weeks or days prior, in the news posts that this was coming, that you could spy penguins, and I remember reading that. So on the actual day that it started, everybody was just kind of running around trying to figure it out, and a few people had posted in the new forum, the D&D forum, saying, join my chat, join this, as any new event that comes up. And there was one chat that just became really popular, and it was Rio's. And there was a bunch of us in that chat that started helping out and organizing and sort of, staying longer and such. And that became a really, really popular chat, to the point where we had to expand and had 5 overflow chats as well. And then over time, Rio's left Penguins, left the game eventually. Our overflow chat owners, they left the game, they retired. We changed chat names, etc. So after a little while, I ended up being the chat owners of the current chats that we have now, which aren't the originals. And I've been around since day one, pretty much, and sort of been running it for a while with the team. So it kind of grew out of a few different groups and different people. And we started off with the thread, too. That was on day one, which was the first thread, which was Penguin Locations.
Version 1.
And the next week we started. Yeah, well, there was no version 1 back then. It was Penguin Locations. And then the next week we said, oh, well, Penguin Locations version 2. And then it just, continued to V300.
And here we are.
Yes, here we are.
Excellent. So now, given that we have 300 weeks of forum threads with penguin locations in there, common penguin locations of where the penguins might be, what exactly do you guys do each Tuesday for someone who, might just see the forum thread and wonder how this is all figured out and how everybody keeps track of where the penguins currently are? What's the process on Tuesday when we reset? That sort of thing.
One of actually the great things about the group of people, over all the years of all the threads who work on penguins, is that they do make it seem so easy in a sense. So many players just come in and assume penguins spawn in Yanil Wall, or that they're in Narity Castle. They just happen to be sitting there, and it's so easy. But there's a ton of stuff going on behind the scenes, one of which you got to experience yourself Tuesday night, Tuesday night North America time, of course, is our reset.
Yep.
And we plan well in advance as I mentioned before, we're trying to crack the pattern because Maud Nancy, the original curator of penguins at Jagex, had a very simplistic pattern, which we cracked very quickly. So we were able to predict the penguins. So in that regard, we were able to plant people at certain spots at reset. I could have the thread written on Sunday and be ready to go. She heard we had cracked it. So she kindly decided to shake things up a bit, and with no prior warning. That was a fun week, let me say. And yet to 100% crack it. It was about 99%. And we have a whole team of people who are just working on cracking the thread. So it's one of the fun aspects of Penguin. So that's going on behind the scenes. And we've even developed automated systems to predict each week's penguins.
Oh, wow.
Et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, it's quite complex. We also have a group of players who've gotten involved in penguin movement, which gets into coding and the whole how do NPCs move in the game. And they've discovered all sorts of things. And so we can actually tell how a penguin's going to move and how to stand next to a penguin or how to block a penguin in that regard. And then I have the thread work. I have all sorts of files and penguin files and piles of paper that sort of put together my list for the week, and then all the different posts that have to be individually done. And then we meet actually at 1 hour before reset, and I'm sorry, half an hour actually before reset. And we meet in Edgeville, as you came and joined us this week, and north of the Edge Bank upstairs. And we have a reset meeting. And basically we just, let everybody know of any information that's going on. Our penguin tours, they're also planning. We have a group of people who are involved in our tours, our tour buses, and they run on reset night, and they do a lot of planning as well, and how their routes are going to be planned out, and who's going to run ahead and scope out where the penguin is, and all sorts of things, and keep everybody happy. So we get information from them, and then basically I hand out assignments or locations based on what the predictions are. And sometimes our predictions are really good and we're confident. So I know that, I've got 8 people or 10 people or 5 different teams of people sent out across the world. Sometimes we're not so confident, so we have to send people to areas, or they have 2 or 3 penguins to check on. And then we sort of put people in places. And then we start manning the chats and updating the thread with old locations and getting ready for new locations. And then, of course, locking the old thread and opening the new thread for posts. And basically getting the locations up. And that's a week-long thing, is keeping the thread updated with fairly recent location lists, so that if anything changes, so that anyone comes to the thread, they know where the penguins are on any world, or particularly World 60, where we focus.
Right.
And then all throughout the week, we're focusing on the chats, working on those behind the scenes as well, keeping them maintained, keeping the spanners out, answering all the questions, etc.
So the next thing pertains to the tour buses. You mentioned that you have 2 tour buses that leave on Penguin Reset Night. Tell me just a little bit about those.
The penguin tours. Well, we were finding, people that just wanted to trail behind, and they wanted to follow people, or we would constantly get offers in our FCs, can someone take me around to all the penguins? I'll pay you, things like that. And we just realized there was such a demand for it, and we had some of our ranks, some of the players who just said, "Hey, I'll take you around," and it kind of developed into tours, which are quite structured now. And we call them our tour buses. We have separate FCs for those, a separate thread. They've been in operation for several years now, and basically you meet at a predetermined spot. For example, it was Shanty Pass this week. And then once reset starts, they travel around to all 10 penguins. Usually wild is a separate, they'll do that separately. And,
right.
That's at your own risk if you choose to. And then we even have an express tour. So if you want even faster experience, you can go on the express bus. One of our ranks runs and takes you, it's really super fast. run around. But the tour buses are fun, and you get to do it in a group. And if it's just you by yourself and you're not so familiar with other locations or the penguins, or you're not so fond of being in the busy chats, you can go on the buses. And like I said, they always have reclining seats and snacks. And yeah, it's just
That's
a lot
great.
of fun. Yeah, and we have dedicated ranks and players that love to help out. And there's a whole team of them. It's quite structured, and they've done a fantastic job of running these tour buses, and players love them every week.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that, because, I mean, just to get this many people to be interested in doing something like this for a group in an online game where there's no, real benefit aside from helping people to it. This is just a really great thing about the RuneScape community. And it's something that I've seen over the years many times, and I think I want to say is really unique to the game community that we have here. Really a great thing. So just a couple more little ones. So suppose I see a penguin on World 60 or somewhere else in maybe one of your chats, and I'm not exactly a member of the penguin group. I haven't been, involved with any of your operations. Should I try and trap this, or is that something that should be left to you guys?
Oh no, God, no! It's open to everyone, and we constantly stress that it doesn't have to be one of the ranks, or you must be part of the team. Anyone who spies or helps out or reads the thread, you're part of the team, is how I see it. I've always believed that. And if you want to help out with the penguin, we love having people get involved. So absolutely get involved. For sure, call out for help, or say, hey, I just found this bush wandering around. Can someone help me? Or what do I do with it? Or why is it here? And every week we get people saying things like that in the chats. And you'd be amazed again at how many people will come running to help you. And especially if it's some of our ranks who are a little more versed in movement and traps and such, and have been around for a while, they'll certainly know all the jargon and all the ins and outs, and they can help with more of the details. But most regular hunters will know how to shove a penguin back in a room, or shut the door on it or something. And most people do. Okay. You constantly hear of that. Oh, penguin just got out. I'm going to shove it back in. Oh, it's in, And so, we've got that experience of like throwing the farmer into the pig pen and Draenor to,
right.
feed from him, things like that. So
how exactly, just give me a quick overview of how you can essentially shepherd a penguin where you want it to go.
Basically, you block it. You block it from certain movements. Again, it gets quite complex and detailed in terms of how a penguin or an NPC moves. But you basically act as blocking. And you can use some pets, like, for example, a platypus or a tooth creature, which you'll almost always see trappers carrying around with them. Those block as well, so you can become a square blocker with a pet. And you basically stop a penguin from moving where you don't want it to go. And so you sort of shepherd it, as you said, into the area or into the region that you want. However, penguins have minds of their own, as we all know, or anyone who's ever tried to trap one. And so you have to work with that as well. But it certainly can be done for all the movement we've done with them.
All right. I was told that you guys once trapped 6 penguins in Relica. Is that the largest trap, the craziest trap you guys have ever done?
Once? We've done that pretty regularly. And Relica Cowpen is a great spot for doing what we call multi-herds. And that's in a week when you have roamer penguins, so penguins that aren't contained. For example, Lunar Isle can't get off the island, so it's a contained penguin.
Right.
But something like a Feldit penguin, he can get all the way to, Sears, into Taverley. They can just freely roam because there's nothing stopping them. So when we have roamers, we do multi-herds. We used to put them in Yanil Wall. That was the first place we ever did a multi-herd. We had 6 penguins in there. But the wall is, because of the door and so many people coming in and out, they get out very quickly. And then you suddenly have 4 rocks wandering around, and you don't know who's who. So the cow pen is lately it's been the trap of choice for multi-herds. But 6 so far is the maximum we've ever had. Yeah.
All right.
We're waiting for the day of 10.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting to see, and I think would probably be worthy of a YouTube video or a post somewhere showing that. So,
yeah, we post Reddit and YouTube. There's been a lot of things when we do the multi-herds, and just to throw in there, this month with the road trip, the mega duck. Do you know about the mega duck?
Yep.
Yeah, we moved the mega duck into the yellow wall with the pink. Just for the hell of it, yeah. I kind of yelled out to the team that night. I'm like, let's move it to the wall, because you had to move it down to Uglog. And
wow.
Yeah, threw it in the wall, yeah. Well, why not, right?
Yeah.
So we had a duck in the wall as well with penguins.
That must have been quite the sight.
That's one of the craziest. I think that's one of the craziest we've done, yeah.
Very nice. Is there anything else you'd like to throw in about how Team Penguin works?
Basically, we work with everyone helping, with the cooperation of everyone, and it doesn't matter if you just call out one penguin location in chat, or you post on the thread a penguin location on any world, because the thread's for all worlds, or if you guard a penguin for 10 minutes, or if you show someone a way in Elflands, where the penguin is. It's everyone helping out and cooperating, which I mentioned already. That's how we work. It's not a certain group of people. I mean, certainly people who are more dedicated, for sure, are penguin addicts, but it's everyone. And we wouldn't be here today, with 300 threads, if all the players hadn't supported and helped and cooperated and worked together. So it's everyone doing it. So that's how we work.
Excellent. And that is the way something should work in RuneScape, and as we already have mentioned, it just goes to show the dedication of this community. All right, so 2 final things before we close off. The ghost penguin, is it difficult to find?
Oh god, the ghost penguin. Yeah, it is. It can be, I should say. It can be difficult to find. Recently, with the Fate of the Gods quest, there was a post-quest reward, which was Sliskay's gift. If anyone's done that, I won't give away any spoilers. But it was specifically mentioned by JMods that they made that reward to help find the ghost penguin. And what the reward is that you don't have to wear the Ring of Visibility in order to see the ghost NPCs from the Shadow Realm, which includes the ghost penguin. So that makes it a lot easier to find, because now that you don't have to have the ring on, you can be doing anything in RuneScape, and you might stumble across it. You might not as well, but and of course we have an FC to help out with that. We also have a thread for the ghost penguin, the 11th penguin spy, and those give all sorts of information. It's on how to spot it as a solo hunter, as a group hunter, with your friends, etc. So there's all sorts of ways to find it.
All right,
it's a sneaky penguin, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine so, and I mean, it was probably one of the hardest ones to find, I'd imagine, before Sliskay's gift, but it's probably gotten maybe a smidgen easier now.
I should just mention as well that Maud Nancy, again, the original JMod curator of Penguin for the Penguin Quest, she purposefully made it really, really difficult. Again, because she kind of learned, that we'd gotten kind of good at finding penguins and trapping them and hurting them and moving them and such. I mean, it was all in good humor and such, and she enjoyed it and got involved with it. But she purposely said it was to make it really, really hard to find and to really make it an effort, which it certainly is. But we have thousands of players every week that still come to find it. Those 3 extra points are kind of nice. But letting it walk on water and go into cliffs, that was kind of nasty. But
yeah.
Thanks, Maud Nancy, for making it interesting. Yeah, so we all get to curse the ghost penguin. But again, it just adds one more, interesting aspect to penguins.
One more element of fun. All right.
Yeah.
And one thing I was surprised with last night is the weekly song that you close out your reset meetings with. Tell me a bit about that.
Oh, where did that grow from? It's called the trample song. I started different things. I used to get all the helpers who came to the reset meeting to repeat after me things. And then I tried a chant, and then I tried a bunch of different things, and it's kind of morphed into this over the years. The trample song, basically, you pick a tune and you scream out any lyrics you want about trampling. The idea behind it is that when you're doing reset, I should say reset on its own it's a special beast. I mean, it's very different from the rest of the week. It's the highest volume of players. When you're standing with a new penguin that's just spawned, you suddenly look up and you see hordes of dots coming towards you on the minimap. It can be a little daunting for new players or new helpers, and we always warn the new helpers, and we say, you're about to be trampled. Or when someone calls out a location of a penguin that nobody's known where it was for a while, or a ghost, for example, you just get trampled by all these players who come to spy this penguin. So we've always joked saying, footprints on your back, and etc. And it can be frustrating, especially if you've just spent 20 minutes getting that penguin to a certain spot, and suddenly everyone comes and tramples you. And what many people don't realize is that trampling or running over a player breaks what we call the player, and means then the penguin can run through you. So they're no longer a blocker. So when you're blocking and someone walks on you, you've broken the block, and a penguin can go straight through you. So that can be very frustrating if you're trying to trap. And the idea of it was I was trying to counter those frustrations, and I wanted to make sure that the helpers were, first and foremost, having fun. Because it's reset, It's penguins, we're playing an online game, you're chasing a crate with flippers, like this is supposed to be fun.
Yep.
Don't get too caught up in it. And so that's what I wanted people to remember, to relax, have fun with it. Look, you're going to be trampled. It's just a given. Now every week they scream at the top of their lungs, whatever lyric and tune they want, and they come up with some crazy lyrics. It's wonderful to see each week. And everybody has to sing. Anybody new, you're required to throw in a few words. And it's a lot of just trample, 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 and I'm going to get trampled, and trample to the right, trample to the left, things like that. And so we just get out our frustrations. And then we go off to the spotlights.
Yeah, I will say that it was definitely one of the more surprising things, because I was just there observing, and I didn't know that was going to happen, but it made complete sense after the fact.
So it's but I do warn people, when you're new to the meetings, I always say you're gonna have to sing. When the singing begins, you have to sing. That's sort of one of the little rules. And I do believe you sang.
Yeah, I did, and that's what makes it great.
Yeah,
excellent.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah,
well,
this should always be.
Yeah, always fun first. So let's just wrap this up by giving a list of the chat channels, I guess. You said you have a good number of them. They're probably linked on the forum thread, aren't they?
There, absolutely. On our first post of the thread on page 1, we have actually 4 FCs for penguin hunting. W60 Pengy, Pengy, is dedicated to ghost hunting. So we keep that for ghost hunting. We do call the ghost in all our other chats. So our main chat that's used, that is in operation 24/7, is World 60 Pengs. And that's WORLD 60 Pengs with an S. And then we have 2 overflow chats. They're mainly just used for special events and for reset night. And then we have our tour bus chats, and we have various other chats. We got monkey chats. We've got everything. So,
all right, that sounds pretty good. So, for anybody wondering, you can just head on over to the link on the forums to the current week's topic. You can find that at update.rsbandb.com. And I believe you can also follow Team Penguin on Twitter at Team Peng.
That's right. We have Twitter, absolutely. And we post our locations on the Twitter. We post our locations on all the major fan sites. We update them all every week with the list. And we have it posted on our clan forum, the list as well.
Definitely been a pleasure having you on the show, and I'm sure we've spurred some interest in penguin hunting from our community and maybe the wider community in general. And that's always good to, just have a nice social experience and make some new friends and bag some experience from it.
And to sing. And
yes,
and a chance
indeed.
to sing. And, yes, of course. Might not be a sea shanty, but it's a penguin song. But absolutely, yeah. If anyone's interested, we welcome everyone. And as I mentioned, there's so many different aspects. There's something for everyone. But just basically to enjoy it. And thank you for having me on.
Not a problem. Thank you for joining us once again. And that was Canada Grrl, leader of Team Penguin.